women who iron their breasts, people who greet each other by spitting. Today, you will watch the strangest customs of the world in amazement. We are in India, home to 1.5 billion people. In India, where there are many strange traditions, one of the most mind-boggling traditions is that of the daily woman. In India, where more than 22 languages are spoken, women who come to the houses for daily cleaning have to meet the relationship needs of the single teenager at home. In the country with magnificent architectural structures, there are also many interesting traditions. According to Hindu beliefs, Hindus wash away their sins by entering the Ganges River. The ashes of a dead Hindu are thrown into the Ganges. This belief is a belief that the souls of the dead are liberated. Another well-known tradition and belief that has persisted for hundreds of years is the sacredness of cows in India. People in the country consider every cow sacred because they believe that their god, whom they call Krishna, is embodied in the body of a cow. The dictionary definition of the word Krishna is black. When you travel to India, don't be disrespectful to the cows. When driving an automobile, never honk at a cow walking on the road. In India, it is believed that the cow's urine and feces are sacred. Believers believe that they are cleansed by rubbing these stools or urine on their faces. And don't panic if you see a Hindu holding a cow's tail. That Indian never thirsted for death. That Indian is holding the tail of the cow and praying at that moment. If a native in India unintentionally hurts a cow, what happens to that person? In this case, the person who disrespects the cow, who kills or inadvertently hurts it, doesn't wash, clean, beard or nails for 6 to 12 months. It is believed that the Indian, who bids farewell to all social life for 12 months, is cleansed of his sin after giving a great feast under a tree considered sacred in India and burning the leaves of that tree in a large amount of butter. Unfortunately, women in the country are in the second plan. Until the British occupation, women could have more than one husband in the country and this was considered normal. A woman was usually married to 2 or 3 brothers. Nowadays, this tradition is said to still continue in remote corners of India. India's strange traditions are not limited to this. In India, girls who reach the age of 7 are married to a dog. According to the belief, the girl is protected by a dog until she turns 18 and gets married. There is no end to strange traditions in India. Does anyone know what the Indians, who are known by everyone that they throw a lot of spices into their food, do about bride price? Let's guess. Most people guessed wrong. In India, in the tradition of the bride price called drahoma, when a couple is getting married, please listen carefully. In India, when a couple marries, it is the girl, not the boy, who pays the bride price. In other words, girls living and marrying in India pay a groom price to get the man they love. For this reason, families in India do not want to have daughters. Families are happier when a boy is born. We will continue to pass on the traditions of India, which will astound you. Let's cross to eastern Cameroon and witness a chilling tradition. When we say Cameroon, first of all, a colorful country flag and footballers who have been brought to the world football industry come to mind, right? You must have heard of soccers like Webo who play in Turkey, Samuel Eto'o, and Song. On the territory of Cameroon, discovered by Portuguese sailors, a tradition that is literally beyond evil is still maintained. Cameroon has an estimated 30 million people. Women make up half the population. But in this beautiful country, especially in eastern Cameroon, young girls' breasts are ironed to prevent rapes. The fact that such a bitter tradition is still being carried on in the 2020s is, we believe, the bitterest of bitterness. Many organizations protecting women's rights around the world are fighting to end this tradition. We are in a landlocked Southeast Asian country. This is Laos. There are 7 million people living in the country, which is governed by a one-party socialist republic. The founding year of the country, that is, the year they declared their independence from France, is 1953. Since that year, Laotians have had a strong slogan: peace, independence, democracy, unity, and prosperity. It is mind-boggling that a tradition that is so contrary to a slogan with such a beautiful message is still in existence. In Laos, a beautiful Asian country, it is forbidden for women to show their wrists. If a woman exhibits her wrist, she is considered to have exhibited the most erotic area of her body, and this is forbidden. Laotians, who have lived under the exploitation of the French throughout history, restrict women's private lives in this way. As in other countries where strange traditions are maintained, they are the target of criticism arrows. Many international women's organizations are fighting for the liberation of Laotian women because they are not happy that their wrists and the concept of honor are considered the same thing. More than 150 tribes around the world still continue to live with their traditions dating back to primitive times. For example, in Turkey, spitting in the face is perceived as an insult. As a result of this act can cause up to fighting and murder. So if you spit in someone's face, they will never smile at you. Either the person opposite you spits in your face or, unfortunately, fights with you. But members of the Vasai tribe, a fairly populous tribe that lives in Tanzania and Kenya, who strictly adhere to their traditions that they have maintained for hundreds of years, greetings with each other by spitting. Yes, you heard right. When you meet an old friend in the forest, if you are a Vasai, you don't say, "Oh hi, brother." You show great courtesy by spitting in his or her face. If you don't spit in the face of the person you meet, it's considered an insult in Vasai tribe, just as if you insulted a friend you passed without greeting in another country. "I'm glad I'm not Vasai," we hear you say. We are in one of the most beautiful countries in the world. This is Brazil, the samba dancer's paradise. Waving goodbye to someone in Brazil means saying goodbye. This is a body language that we all use at the time of separation. But in Brazil there is a tradition about women that will astonish you. Since the 1988 Brazilian Constitution, many women, especially those living in urban cities, have gained the right to education and training. However, this is not the case for women living in rural areas. Women living in rural areas, who have not achieved financial freedom, are considered second-class people. Let's move on to a tradition that will astonish you. In Mahinaku, a small village in Brazil, if a man wants to have sexual intercourse with a woman, he gives her a fish as a gift.
Ready to meet the strangest tribe in history? A mysterious tribe that says, "We are aliens, Dogons." In this episode, we will visit the Dogon, who despite their primitive appearance say, "We are the strangest tribe in the world." Mali, officially the Republic of Mali, is a landlocked country in West Africa. Mali is the 8th largest country in Africa with a surface area of 1,240,000 square kilometers. The population is 20 million, 65% of whom are under the age of 25. The capital of Mali is Bamako. The country's economic infrastructure is mainly based on agriculture and fishing. Some of Mali's natural resources are gold, uranium and salt. People settled in Mali at a very early date. They practiced agriculture and nomadic animal husbandry and crossed the Sahara to establish contact with the Mediterranean world. Most of the people who settled here have moved on to modern life, but there are still some who live by thousands of years of tradition. One of these tribes is the Dogon tribe. They don't know what the internet is. They have never seen a cell phone in their lives. But they say they know space. Can this be true? A tribe living in the Bandiagra Cliffs region of Mali calls themselves aliens. The star Sirius, also known as the Dog Star, which is located right next to the Orion star belt, and the stars and planets believed to revolve around it, form the basis of Dogon mythology. The Dogons claim that Sirius is the brightest star, that there is a small, dense, and dim star next to Sirius that is invisible to the naked eye, and that they know the exact position of this star. They believe that this star, which they called Potolo, was made of a material heavier than anything known on Earth and that it took 50 years to orbit Sirius. In deep valleys resembling the Grand Canyon, the community lives in small, primitive hut-like houses built on the edge of cliffs using earth and wood, and similarly engage in simple work such as hunting, gathering, agriculture, and animal husbandry. The tribe's main source of livelihood is the millet grain, which they obtain by climbing hundreds of meters of rocks with handmade ropes and increase its yield with pigeon dung, and the neighborhood markets where they sell vegetables, fruits, and grains obtained from agriculture or gathering. In addition, idols, clothes, sculptures and masks created through wood and leatherworking are among the other pursuits of the tribe. He claims this primitive tribe has known about this faint star for hundreds of years. Until the mid-19th century, however, Western astronomers did not even know that this faint star mentioned by the Dogon existed. In 1862, American astronomer Alvin Graham Clark discovered the star while testing a new telescope and named it Sirius B. Research in the 1920s showed that Sirius B was a dwarf star. Dwarf stars are small but dense stars with very faint light. Sirius B is actually smaller than the Earth, but just as the Dogon say, it is so dense that a teaspoonful of its material would weigh 5 tons. How did the primitive tribe know this? When we look at the demographic structure of the tribe, we see that the ethnic group has a population of approximately 250,000 according to some sources. The determination of these rulers named Dogon, who carry both political and religious responsibilities, is based on the transfer of power from father to son, similar to a sultanate. Even more interesting is the fact that the Dogon's knowledge was not only of this, but also of the 4 moons of Jupiter, first observed in our modern world by Galileo, and of Saturn's rings, which can only be seen through a telescope. The Dogon also believed in the existence of countless stars and that the Milky Way, in which the Earth is located, has a spiral force. The language of the tribe, where hundreds of thousands of people come together, varies from village to village. These sub-languages belonging to the Niger-Congo language family differ from each other in both vocabulary and structure. The community does not have a written language and alphabet, and the method of passing on traditions and other information to future generations is based on oral tradition and hieroglyphic-like drawings on cave walls. The Dogon have expressed much of their knowledge through symbols, and these symbols are based on the Namos, beings that can live both on land and in water, who are believed to have come from outer space to civilize the world. According to the Dogon priests, in ancient times the Namos descended to Earth from a planet in the Sirius system and taught their knowledge to the priests of the time, who in turn passed it on to new generations. The Namos were the creators of the world, as well as the ancestors of humankind and the guardians of spiritual principles, the absolute owners of the rain-making forces and the waters. The tribe, whose origins are unclear as they have no written sources, is thought to have migrated from Egypt to Mali between the 13th and 16th centuries. Carbon trace studies conducted on the land also reveal data supporting this. Although the tribe also includes some believers in Islam and Christianity, the majority of the tribe worships a tribal religion with a single creator based on animism similar to that of the ancient Egyptian civilization. The god of the tribe is called Amma. What the Dogon have known for centuries is only now being discovered by science. The latest example of this is the Dogon's discovery of a third star in the Sirius system, which they call Emiya and which they say is the planet of the Namos. In fact, scientists are only now discovering ideas that the Dogon have been putting forward for thousands of years. Here is the story of the Dogon tribe with its strange totems and organization. Members of the Dogon tribe know and accept that the earth is round. Although the members of this tribe seem to live far from civilization, they have more astronomical knowledge than most. They even know that the earth revolves around the sun, that the moon revolves around the earth, Saturn's rings, Jupiter's moons, and that Sirius is not a single star but a triple system of A, B and C. The Dogons and their connection to the star Sirius have attracted the attention of creation theorists, astronomers, and scientists as well as UFO researchers, and much research has been done on the origins of this tribe and how they acquired their deep knowledge of astronomy. Archaeologist-author Eric von Daniken accepted Dogon beliefs and interpreted this information as definitive proof that extraterrestrials had visited our world in the past. Members of the Dogon tribe explain their existence in a very interesting way. According to them, their birth was the result of the marriage of the Sirius system and the solar system. The Dogons know that Sirius is the brightest star and that next to Sirius there is a small, dense, and faint star that is invisible to the naked eye, and they know the exact position of this star. Robert Temple, an American scientist studying the Dogon, found images depicting the arrival and landing of a Namo spaceship. The craft was said to have landed in the southeast of Dogon country. Dogon priests described the landing of the spacecraft by saying that it landed on dry land and created a vortex that kicked up a lot of dust. The Dogon also believe that the Sirius travelers will one day return. A star will appear in the heavens and it will be the sign of the resurrection of Namo, says an inscription. Namo's ship is a term used in the mythology of the Dogon Indians of the Republic of Mali to refer to those sent from the Sirius star system to the planet Earth. In Dogon belief, the term Namo's ship is sometimes used as if referring to a material spaceship coming to Earth from the Sirius system, and sometimes as a symbol with spiritual meanings. According to the Dogon tradition handed down from generation to generation, this ship contains the ancestors of the human race, who are manufacturers. But the ancestors were put on board not in human form, but as seeds. During the ship's journey down to Earth, they undergo various stages of transformation reminiscent of the stages of formation of the embryo, the human fetus, in the womb, and when the ship lands on Earth, they emerge from the ship in human form. This ark with 60 compartments contains not only the ancestors, but also the elements of creation and kalam, which are classified into 22 categories. In the compartments of the ark are all types of beings and ways of being, but only a fraction of them have been brought down to Earth, so humans know only a fraction of them. God Amma formed the 4 male human beings from 4 elements. But he also made female twins of these 4 male human beings. The ancestors who were manufactured in the highest heavenly plane and who were to be transferred to the earth were 4 pairs. These 4 pairs became the 8 ancestors of humanity called sons. They are considered to be the sons of Onamo. The representative of Onamo's placenta is the star Sirius A. These sons were put on board as seeds. Before beginning the descent, the ship was loaded with seed from the star Sirius B. The whole of the elements of creation that Amma placed in the Pa and that the Pa emptied into the ark consists of 22 categories. When the time came, Amma took the ark, filled with all her creations, out of her womb and brought it down to the earth. The ark descended to the earth in 8 periods. During its descent, the shining Sirius A guided it. The first of the stars was Sirius B, the pillar of the stars, whose beginning occupies the center of the highest sky. The last of the stars to emerge from Amma's womb was Sirius A, the navel of the universe, and the umbilical cord of Onamo. Witnessed the sunrise for the first time. After sunrise, Sirius led the way. Our solar system married the Sirius system. The suns ascended with Onamo from the highest heaven, became Anagano Bile on the descent journey, became Anagano Sala when they landed on Earth, and became persons when they left the ark to walk. When the ship landed on the ground, the earthly impure soil met the pure soil of Namo. The end of the chain on which the ark hung was in Amma's hand. This chain is an indissoluble link that Amma placed between the sons and their descendants. After Onamo shouted out the word he had received, he was also responsible for transmitting it to the people. Of the 60 compartments of the vessel's contents, only 22 categories have been revealed and given to humanity so far. The part of the word that will be transmitted to humanity in the future will change the earth. Namo will appear again on the day of the word. There will come a time when the star Sirius B will shine as the seed of Pa once shone and will be visible for a certain period of time. What the Dogon have revealed so far is only a fraction of what they actually know. Researchers agree that the Dogon priests did not reveal all their secrets. How did the Dogons, who had no technical tools and with whom our civilization only came into contact in the 1930s, acquire so much knowledge? When will these secrets come to light? Could the Dogons really be aliens?
Dünyanın en garip olayları, sırrı çözülemeyen insanlar ve birbirinden gizemli görüntüler.
Today, we will be guests of tribes still living in our world. Written sources may not always record what is true and what is legend. Human beings can forget the most accurate information over time. However, we pass on to images that will remain in your memory for many years among primitive tribes that are still alive, and live their lives with terrible traditions that it is impossible to forget in time. The first tribe we'll be visiting, the Himba. This is Namibia, famous for its dry land, scorching sun, and predatory animals. Namibia, one of the most backward countries in Africa, has only 3 million people living on 825 square kilometers of land. Among these 3 million people, there are also those who have not been introduced to technology, who have not used the internet, who cannot read or write, and even those who have not visited thousands of square meters of land within the borders of the country. We are with the endangered Himba, one of the primitive tribes who dry clothes under the same sun and do not know each other. The way Himba women get pregnant will surprise you. The Himba living in northern Namibia are said to have a population of between 20 and 50,000. The Himba, a nomadic tribe, is also known as the Red Women. In the 15th century, the Himba migrated from Botswana to northwestern Namibia, subsisting on hunting and agriculture. Throughout their history, the Himba have faced violent wars, drought, and famine in Namibia. During the drought of the 1980s, the Himba, who had thousands of goats, lost almost all of their goats. As a result of this drought, most of the Himba left their desolate lands and settled in the city of Opuwo. They tried to somehow become urbanized by adapting to this place. But the tribe's women who are left behind, who are proud to be Himba, who have vowed to die as Himba, despite the threat of death, drought, and hunger, are shouldering almost all of the daily work. A Himba woman can milk a cow, breastfeed a child, and work in construction. Since women do most of the daily work, there is a great bond and cooperation between Himba women. The example of today's advanced kindergartens has actually been practiced by the Himba for hundreds of years. A woman takes care of dozens of children and helps a mother who also has a job. Himba women rub butter on their bodies to protect themselves from the sun, and their skin turns red over time. That's where the name Red Women comes from. Himba women, who do not use modern clothing, walk around naked. In the Himba, the age of newborn children is not counted from the date of birth, but from the beginning of telepathic communication with their mother. When the women of the tribe decide to become pregnant, they sit under a tree and wait for the child to communicate with them. The child initiates the first communication with mother with a song by sings to her. Hearing the song sung by the child, the mother teaches it to her husband and then becomes pregnant. This song that the child sings to mother is considered child birthday, and the child's age is calculated according to this date. When the child grows up and breaks a social law or commits a crime, he or she is called to the village square, surrounded by the community, and everyone sings their own song to him or her. According to the tribe's ancient traditions, the way to correct antisocial behavior is not through punishment, but through love and reminding the individual of their true identity. Now we are moving to other lands in the remotest part of Africa, lands that are not safe at all. This is the Omo Valley of Ethiopia. The mere sight of the Surma tribe living in this valley is enough to scare you. Surmas are a tattoo enthusiast. Surma tribe members who tattoo their bodies also like to wear jewelry on their lips and ears. But this is not the kind of jewelry you buy at a fancy jewelry store. Please look carefully. The jewelry is made of human and animal bones, tree branches, and strange objects collected from nature. What leaves one's mouth agape are the plates of food that the young women of the Surma tribe that she wears on their lips. The young and beautiful women of the Surma tribe think they are more beautiful this way. The Surmas are a tribe that has managed to preserve their culture for hundreds of years. They are close to both technology and the outside world. Scientists have repeatedly offered to research the Surma tribe, but the Surmas don't like to open up to world. Only a few lucky white people see them each year. It takes courage to even listen to these traditions. Surma women wear plates as jewelry on their lips from their teenage years. Surma women's lips are deformed over time by the huge plates. Guess what's even scarier? These plates are put on the lips of young women from Surma after their lips are cut with a razor. When young women from Surma reach marriageable age, their molars are broken with a stone. Isn't it scary to even think about it? While the women of the Surma tribe are subjected to painful traditions, the men of the Surma tribe also have their own traditions. Surma men must perform a dance called sajan when they reach adulthood. It doesn't matter whether a Surma man is good at dancing or not. Every man who's from Surma must perform this dance. Because this dance is also a challenge to the opponent and the enemy, and also means a fight. A man who cannot dance this dance is considered a coward. Another name for this dance is the dance of death. In the event of any threat, hundreds of Surma men would gather, and at the very center of the land, where tribal boundaries are located, they would do this dance, shouting and shouting in a synchronized way. We cross to Indonesia, a land of 18,000 islands and arid lands that are not the last. In Indonesia, the world's fourth most populous country of 250 million people, Danis who live in their own form, in their dreadful traditions, dislike relationships with the outside world even today, are literally one of the three most fearsome tribes alive. Set on 2 million square meters of land, the Dani tribe in Indonesia has traditions that you may not even like to hear about. The Dani, who living a secluded life, are very connected to each other. If a normal person loses a person they love, or let's put it this way, if a woman's husband dies, she is very sad and grieves. But the situation in the Dani tribe is terrible. Dani, who lost a relative, sadly cuts the top half of one of fingers when they attend the funeral, smearing the ashes of the cremated funeral and the clay ground on face. Discovered 80 years ago in Indonesia, the Dani clan are literally brutal enough to scare people away. How can a person cut off a finger? Before cutting, they tightly tie a string around the upper half of the finger for 30 minutes. The person who cuts their finger is usually a close family member. The open wound is cauterized with fire to prevent bleeding and to create a new fingertip. The outdated practice was outlawed by the Indonesian government several years ago. When you see the elders in the Dani, you immediately realize that most of the fingers are missing. The young Dani continue their lives with 10 fingers on their hands because of this tradition is forbidden. This is India. Cut off from the world, cut off from humans, the Aryans are a pure tribe whose genes have never been mixed in the world. The name of the tribe comes from the Sanskrit word Arya, which means noble person. About 4,000 Aryans live in small villages. Due to years of conflict between India and Pakistan, they have actually become even more isolated in the region. Aryans living in the Ladakh region of India live in more humane conditions than any other tribe on earth. Aryans migrated from Central Asia to India and Iran. The women of the Aryans, who live in the Indus River Valley in their own way, look very pretty in authentic clothes. Aryans forbid marriage outside the tribe. By the way, marriage between castes within the tribe is also forbidden. The Aryans are considered to be the only tribe whose gene pool is unmixed. Although they seem modern, for hundreds of years, they've been very attached to their tradition and their rules. While we are in India, let's visit the village of Longwa, the jungles of Burma. This virgin land is inhabited by the Konyak Naga tribe. The Konyak is the largest of the 16 tribes in Nagaland, northeastern India. The Konyaks, a warrior tribe, have become a great power in India by taking advantage of all the turmoil in the villages. Taking advantage of the resulting turmoil, the warrior tribe expanded by expanding its territory. The Konyaks, a highly intelligent tribe, built their village on a mountain overlooking the Burmese jungle to dominate the entire region. To say that Konyaks are warriors would be an understatement. Because a young Konyak man has to kill one of his enemies and bring the skull to the village to prove his manhood. Although skull hunting was banned in the 1940s, it is alleged that the Konyak continued the tradition. Tourists coming to the region are also warned not to approach the Burmese forests without a guide. In every Konyak shelter, in every Konyak house, there is at least one skull. These skulls are a source of pride for them. This is New Guinea. The images are not from a movie, they are real. Such colorfully painted men are not preparing for a festival or a party. The Huli tribe in Papua New Guinea, closed to the outside world, lives by hunting and gathering. The Huris, who live in the high mountains of Papua New Guinea, are obsessed with painting their faces and bodies. It is impossible to see tribe members who are obsessed with looking fancy without paint. The Hulis are very few in number. As a tribe of only 200 to 250 people, they are on the verge of extinction. In the 1990s, they suffered a major population decline when a tiger attack killed about 60 members of the tribe. After the tiger attack, the Hulis developed an internal technique and started wearing masks on their faces. The Huli believe that tigers do not attack those with masks on the back of their heads. If a tiger doesn't look a man in the eye, so a tiger and a human eye don't come to the eye, it won't attack. Please do not approach a tiger, masked or unmasked. We continue our journey among the strange tribes that live on Earth, in north of Myanmar. The Karens, who live here and often appear in the press, are not completely closed to the outside world. Karens have been using touristic activities and the press for years as a source of income. This tribe, who share their lives with everyone in exchange for money, is not dangerous. So your life is not in danger when you visit them. At least this tradition has been going on for years. In the Karens, women start wearing these rings around their necks when they're 4 or 5 years old. Why do you think women may wear these rings? It's because of social status. Karen women, the more rings around their necks, the more they have a say. So if a 25-year-old Karen woman has 20 rings, suppose the opposite 40-year-old Karen woman has 10 rings. In the Karen, a 25-year-old woman with 20 rings is considered to have a higher status. Karen women keep the rings around their necks for the rest of their lives. Those who suffer from neck pain when lying on a slightly high pillow, please watch this place carefully. A Karen woman can fall asleep with 20 rings around her neck if necessary. They do not have the luxury of taking off the rings they have worn around their necks all their lives. Meanwhile, their necks, which have grown longer over the years because of the rings, will break if the rings come off, and Karen women die as a result. There have been many examples of this in history. According to measurements, a Karen woman's neck can carry a maximum of 35 rings. Karen women believe that these rings give them status and make them look beautiful. The more rings, the more beautiful women feel. Dear women viewers, would you like to wear a ring around your neck like Karen women? Please think. Please watch carefully. The Hydras are perhaps the most diverse tribe on Earth. We are in India to learn about the past and present of Hydras. The Hydras are not really a tribe with exactly the same genes. But in the literature they are referred to as tribe. Hijra is a name given in South Asia to a person who is not a woman or a man, who is considered the third gender. In fact, to become Hijra, a person has to be castrated. Hydras, who live in their culture, often wear colorful clothes, wear extravagant makeup and enjoy wearing a lot of jewelry. According to written sources, Hydras have the same level of social position as a prostitute in Indian culture. Hydras earn their living by singing or dancing for money, especially at ceremonies like birth, marriage, festival, etc. Hydras were highly respected in very ancient times. It was believed that Hydras were blessed by the god Rama. They would even go to the Hydras and ask them to pray for them. A large number of Hydras make a living by working in prostitution. Again, according to information in written sources, the Hydras had a good financial income, earning more than the average Indian citizen. Hydras born male are castrated in a ritual called Narwan. Castrated, Hijra continues her life as a transgender person. In fact, there is a drama in this story. Hydras, who live in Pakistan, are often said to be abandoned, marginalized by their families. What do you think about these tribes and their lives? Please share your thoughts with us. If you like our video and want to support our channel, please don't forget to subscribe and like our video. See you in the next video. Goodbye.